Hi everyone, I'm going to do a quick example of how to use Prism to make a multiple baseline design graph. So first thing, if you go to graphpad.com, you can download a free trial here by entering your email, and then there's a couple verification codes and serial numbers. You get 30 days free, and then you can do it through this. So I just did one now. So here's Prism on my computer that I've downloaded. So what you want to do is first you want to make sure you have an XY graph here. You want to make sure that the first point is entered under data table, under numbers for the x-axis, and enter and plot a single y value for each point under the y-axis. And then you're going to press create. Okay, here's your spreadsheet similar to what you would see in Excel. In this first column, you're going to put your time points. So this could be the date or the number of sessions that you are doing, okay? So over the course of our multiple baseline design, we did 25 sessions, let's say. Okay. Just going to copy that for the next graph. Okay, so in the first column, you're going to put your baseline data. So, and say my baseline was, I did 3 baseline points for my first participant. I'm going to pretend to do a multiple baseline across participants, and the output of their behavior was 2, 2, and 3. In the next column, you're going to put your intervention phase. Okay, so say we had it's a skill acquisition program, so we had 6, 6, 9, 9, 8, 9. Okay. And then we saw that he continued to do well, and it was very good. Okay, so there's our first data for our first graph. So what you're going to go over here is to the graph section, press data, and you're going to click the line graph here, and you're going to press OK, and there's your graph. Okay, you want to get rid of the legend. And what you're going to do is you're going to double click on your x-axis, and up comes this chart of how you're going to put your lines in. So just double check. So your baseline ended on session 3 and your intervention started on session 4. So 3.5 is where you want your line. So you double click again on your x-axis, the screen comes up. So 3.5, which is between 3 and 4, is where you want your line to go. You click the line button, press OK, and you have your data point. Now, the only thing is that the circles are here and the squares are here. We shouldn't have that. So we just want to make sure that all of these are selected. There we go. And we want to make sure that they're the same as the other ones. Okay, perfect. Maybe extend our axis there so that we have it a little bit longer. You can alter the values of your y-axis here. So the major ticks, we could have it every 1. You could start at 0. You can have your heightened X value there. You could put a range here. If you turn off automatic, you can fool with all of these. However, I'm not going to do all of that right now for the purpose of the demonstration. You can then probably, or have one title, so rate of imitations, I'll say, for all 3 participants, okay? So I'm not going to put this here. I'm going to put in my last one, and this is rate. We'll just put rate. Okay, just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so we have our first graph here. So back here is where we had our data, and then the graph goes under graphs. We want to create a new data table for our second graph, okay? So again, making sure the first one, numbers and y, create. We're going to do our, let's see if I can copy and paste, my 25 sessions again. And again, this is participant 2. So he might have a higher rate of imitation. Okay, and because it's multiple baseline, his data would go on for longer until the other one had mastered his skills. Okay, so we see it there. Then we're going to start his intervention. So we see an increase right here. and say he gets mastery there. Okay, so we're going to increase our sessions. Okay, so now we want to graph that information. So we're going to go to data 2. We're going to make sure we choose the line graph again. And again, we have a nice graph. Get rid of our legend. We don't need the title again. I'm going to call this rate. What you would do is you want to make sure, remember that this is the same as your first graph, right? Make sure that the range here is the same. I'm not going to do it for this purpose. We're going to put this on the bottom, the title here. Double click and, oops, I just need to check. So remember my baseline ends at 20. 21 is my new one. So I want to double click. I want to make sure 20.5 is where I want a line. Okay, there's your line. Perfect. Okay, let's do it one more time. So let's get another data sheet here. Again, whoops. Let's put our session numbers. We're going to need more this time. This may not work out exactly perfect, given that I haven't planned this. I'm not wanting to keep you on here forever. Okay, so this is our third participant, and let's just say they couldn't learn in baseline, so we have 1 all the way across. Okay, then we're going to start intervention here, and we start to see some increases. Okay. Okay. And whenever we hit mastery, we might have hit it earlier. This might be a little fabricated, but I just really want to show you the graphs. Again, we want to hit this one here, get our data. We want to extend this out so we can actually see the data, get rid of our legend, our title. I'm just pressing delete for all of these, making sure our lines are the same, our markers, sorry. Okay. I want to put the rate again. Again, please change your Y scale here so that it's the same. And then we're going to put number of instances of imitation, which I would probably do percentage of opportunity. But for this purpose of this, we are just showing you how to use the graph. Going back to my data again, whoops. In number 3, it's between 20 and 21 is where I want my line to go. So I want it at 20.5 and I want a line. Okay. So now we have our 3 graphs, right? So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So they're all there and you can adjust them and you can go back. But what I really want to show you is you want to go now down here and you want to go a new layout. So add the plus there. Now we want 3, we're going to have 3 graphs because we want the replication to happen 3 times of the experimental condition that we're showing here. So we're going to press that one and press OK. So we have a layout. So now what you're going to do is you are going to drag your graphs. So graph 1 is going to go there. Graph 2 is going to go there. And graph 3 is going to go there. So in these instances, like I probably would want that extended out a little bit more. So you can extend it here. You have to go back and make the change here. And I could probably take the whole graph and move it over. However, for the purpose of this right now, I'm just going to leave it like that. Now, the coolest thing and why I've recommended that many of you, I did way too many data points in this last one. So it's really not very conducive. Let me quickly change it. Got a little carried away. I'll just say that this poor second person mastered it here. Okay, sorry guys. So go to the layout there. There we go. That's a little bit better. Probably should be a little bit over because this guy hasn't mastered his yet. But again, the purpose of the demonstration is to do the graph. So now what you want to do is you want to add your little steps in. So you go up here to draw, You're going to bring down the type of marker that you need, which is this little steps tool. You're going to put it there where you need it. Automatically creates it. However, I don't know, did I use the right one here? Yeah, I did. Okay. I think it's just, whoops. So I want that little guy again. The step is, I just don't like how the step's in line with the graph, which it shouldn't be, but I can change that later. Should be going the other way. Let's figure this out here. I want it to go this way. For some reason, it's being silly. There we go. Okay, perfect. And then I want to change this to my dotted lines and make it a little bit smaller like the original. And there's your step, just like that. There we go. This one went a little bit better for some reason. The other one didn't think that it was a step. Double click it again and you can change it. And there you go. Now you want to add the names of your participants. You just right click and, oh, you have to go back here. So if I want to enter the names of my participants, I would right click, insert text. So Amy is the first one. And then as you can see, Amy's name is there. You want to go to 2, right click again. You want to insert text and Ben is your number 2 and insert text and Gary is number 3. And then you can see that all added there and you can do that for all of them. So again, make sure your scales would be the same in all the other pieces that you go through on your textbook. However, that's a quick tutorial of using Prism to make multiple baseline graphs.